and then we can check it,
All right.
and then I can push the button after.
It should be coming through in the next like 8 to 10 seconds.
Excellent connection, it says.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good on YouTube, actually.
Good.
Yeah, I can.
Did you post the link to the old Book of Faces?
Yeah, I guess I should do that. I don't know how to do that though. Share. How about like that? Share to Facebook. That is way easier than running it through Facebook. And it gives me titles already too. Look at that. Tag friends. Jeff. Pat. I'll tag Brett too, because why not? And I'll tag myself, even though I'm already there. I'll tag my dad, because why not? There we go. All right. So actually, the way this works is we can post the link to Facebook early.
Yes.
Because it's just a link.
Mm-hmm. And we can actually, I think we might even be able to keep the same link. And just, and that's your live link. You know what I mean?
I'll have to double check that, because right now it's set to a variable stream key.
Yeah.
So I did not go through the effort of figuring out how to do a manual stream key yet, but I shall. And we can post this link to Reddit too, but I guess that's counterproductive.
Yeah.
But we can also post it to Twitter, and yeah, so I might set up like a bot, like an auto bot, so that this will automatically share links to Facebook and Twitter, like automatically. And I guess we need to get on, what's the Apple one? The new one.
Oh, wait, the Apple what?
The new Apple social radio thing.
Oh, geez, I'm not sure.
I mean, it might be cross-platform now, but it was called something. Oh, I don't remember what it was called. Clubhouse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My old iPhone was too old to get it back in the day, but it's supposed to be like a really, really strong platform now for social interaction.
Nice.
And it's just basically chat rooms, but like audio, like legit chat rooms.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So, yep, it's available for Android now. So yeah, we might have to jump on Clubhouse soon. All right. First, Robin Williams. And then we could talk Ghostbusters as well, I guess. All right.
Oh, Miami, the Heat and the Bulls forfeit second round picks.
I did not see that basketball news. Why?
The league's decision on their tampering with Lowry
Boo.
and Lonzo Ball.
Boo. But they keep their first round picks? Like, all right. Oh, because they talked to the players early?
Mm-hmm.
Boo. All right. Well, that's stupid. All right. Yeah. So we'll fumble through spam, I think, and then I'm gonna post the link to Facebook now. That way it's up. All right. And then you can share it from my Facebook page if you have a desire to do so, Jeff. Oh, maybe we went straight live to YouTube. Maybe we are live. Maybe it just starts as soon as you start the streaming software. We should probably check.
It shouldn't. No, it should go live. I mean, if not, this could be a silly little behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But no,
Checking
it
the
should
link
in
now.
the top right. There should be a button that says "Go Live."
Open in incognito window so I can see if it's actually up. Oh no, we are live.
Oh, hello, everybody.
So we're good. Hi.
Buenas tardes.
So it's live on Facebook too. Hide. "15-second delay."
I'm ready to go to Reddit whenever you guys are.
All right, let's do it.
What about Facebook?
It is on Facebook already.
Okay, cool.
It is on Facebook.
Recording in progress.
I think it's
on
letting you
Facebook
know.
through YouTube.
Yeah, we should be.
All right, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Toilet Paper Podcast. First time live on YouTube. Whoop, whoop, whoop. My name's Jason Bear.
I'm Rex Rebo.
At Armed and Hilarious.
See, guys, I remembered to do the intros today, unlike last week. And we are back. What day is it? Tuesday? Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Are you sure?
I
Yep.
think it's Wednesday.
Wait, no.
I think it's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
We're back live on a Wednesday. So, how has the week been? My week's been hella stacked. I've been just like super busy. Everybody needs pictures and video done this month. Jerks.
Same boat as you. No time off for the
yeah.
holiday too,
That-
right?
Yeah, no, not at all.
A long weekend trip to Miami.
Oh yeah, how was that? How's Nate?
Nate's great. So is Bianca. We did some karaoke. Ate a lot of different, not, how should I put it? Not franchise food.
Oh, nice. Local food?
Yes.
That's awesome, yeah. It's always good when Nate gets to get back across the pond. Did we talk about this before? Like if Brexit messed them up at all? I know Bianca's got EU citizenship through her folks, or through her mom, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Brexit messed with them because they're living in the UK with an EU citizenship and how all that gets tossed about.
They seem pretty square for now. They're not too worried about visas or anything like that. I'm sure Nate and Bianca can correct me in the comments section if you watch.
As we spam all of your emails, phone numbers, and social medias with links to this podcast.
But yeah, the Omicron variant.
Oh, yeah. It seems like we skipped some letters.
Yeah.
What happened to the Zeta, Eta, and Theta variants?
They wanted to go full
Delta wasn't scary
Transformers
enough.
on it.
Release the
Or
Omicron!
at least the Omicron. Omicron. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we would... Yeah. We will check in with Nate and Bianca to make sure that, they're going to have a home to go back to back in the UK. Yeah. Also,
Oh yeah, completely off topic. I ran into, by happenstance, this girl I used to talk to and it's like the first time we ever met in 15 years
Ever?
ever.
So you just like literally used to talk to her.
Yes, it was like I'm sure we met on like some dating app that no longer exists prior to MySpace or whatever thereabouts, but it just never happened. And then lo and behold, we're at like a farmer's market. Well, not a farmer's market. It's just like crafty stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I know your face.
Ha! Interesting.
Nice.
So one of those AOL Instant Messenger hangouts.
It's like, oh, ASL?
ASL. What else we got? Entertainment news. Ghostbusters has got like the most polarizing mixed reviews in a long time, with a bunch of people saying, it made them cry and it's, such a nostalgia fest. The other one saying it's derivative and completely unnecessary. I haven't seen it yet. How about you guys?
Either you love this Ghostbusters or you had a bad childhood.
Ah, okay. So did you see it?
That.
I did see it,
Nice.
and I appreciated it.
Nice. Yeah, Nikolai asked me if I wanted to go grab it over the next few days, so I might have to carve some time out for that. If you're giving it high marks.
Yeah, 3 to 4 out of 5.
Wow, that high. Mm-hmm. All right.
And those are conservative.
So like a conservative 3. So like, if you were being your fanboy self, it'd be like a 4 to 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ghostbusters is on my list now. Let's see what else is going on. Did you guys finish Cowboy Bebop?
Started.
I started it.
Started it, yeah.
And I don't want to say anything bad about it because it did seem interesting. It does open with a sort of like a hook, but I had just finished dinner and I got the itis, and all I want to do is sleep.
Well, mild spoiler alert. The first episode does open with a variation of the movie intro. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop the movie, then whatever. But in Cowboy Bebop the movie, the Spike and Jet foil some would-be convenience store robbers, I guess, and Spike does it nonchalantly with his headphones on. This is in the trailer too, I think.
Yeah.
Spike does it nonchalantly with his headphones on, and almost accidentally, it seems almost accidentally like foils this robbery, and then shows you how much of a jerk he is by like one of the robbers takes like an old lady hostage, and he's like, "That's your hostage? She's lived a full life, like whatever." Like, and so the new live action kind of called back to that sequence in a different setting, kind of done a different way, but it's definitely in the spirit of there. And I just watched the BTS, not the Korean boy band, but behind the scenes stuff since I finished it a few days ago. And it looks like the production team, whether you love this live action remake or hate it, it looks like the production team did a really good job of laying down a lot of lip and eye service for the fans who enjoyed the anime and the movie. There's lots of little details that are like, oh, this is straight from this episode, like note for note, or this is a modification of that. Apparently there's some sheet music on the bottom of Spike's shoe, which I don't know. He didn't say, John Cho didn't say what the sheet music was, and I haven't cared to go back and find it. But, got to find the sheet music on the bottom of Spike's shoes whenever you see the bottom of his shoes, and see if we can see if it's like the score to Tank or Rush or Real Folk Blues or one of the iconic Yoko Kanno songs that came out of it. But
I love that
first
stuff.
impressions since you started it. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's visually appealing. It's enjoyable. It's kind of high energy. I will see if they get the emotion and the character nuances and relationships like they did in the cartoon or anime, whatever you want to call it. Because that's what I think really separated it from most shows, and that was just it's one of my all-time favorites. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic, as I always say, but it's so far I like it. Not in love with it. It wasn't one of those where I stopped everything I need to do, but I like it. I'm in.
Yeah, and outside of Akira, I think, and Akira being like a film, right? Bebop is considered by a lot of people to be the perfect anime. So
Yeah.
why are you screwing around with perfection? And after watching through the whole thing, it does fall apart for me in a few places. I'm not going to give those places away. I think that they did it with a lot of love. I think that they did it with a lot of heart. But it does fall apart for me in a few places. There's some changes that didn't need to be changed, and I think that some of the character choices, you lose a little bit of what makes those characters themselves when you give them more to do. I'm gonna leave it there.
Nope, that's fine. I like it. Because it is such a great ensemble cast in the
Right,
in the
and
anime. They work so well together. They're awesome, and they're all individuals, and just their interactions are just perfect. It makes for a great episode.
And I do have to
episodic
say
television.
that I really appreciate the main cast completely. I mean, I think John Cho does an amazing job. Jet is perfect. Like you picked him up out of the anime, you dropped him on screen as live action, and I was weary about Mustafa Shakur because I really didn't like him in Luke Cage with his Jafaican accent. So I was like leery about him being like an overactor or being a bit of a campy kind of whatever, but he nails it. And even Daniela Pineda and her take on Faye is very different than the anime. She is not the same kind of slinky, sexy femme fatale that fanboys were gonna go gaga over. So people that were looking for that in Faye, not gonna get that. But she's a much more realistic character and grounded, but she's just as tragic. So I appreciate those changes too. And yeah, again, I keep saying I'm not going to say more and then say more. So let's move on before I say more.
Yes.
Say less.
Yeah, say less vis. What else is going on in E news? I have no idea. So moving on to sports news. The Bulls and the Heat got their hands slapped for preseason apparent shenanigans with
Tampering with the talent, as it were.
yeah, I mean, one of those Ball brothers, Lonzo Ball, I guess. He's the good one, right?
I have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, and Kyle Lowry, apparently both the Heat and the Bulls reached out to representation for those players before the free agency period officially started. And so they both lost their second-round draft picks, which is not as egregious as losing your first-round draft picks, I guess. But,
Like you said, it's a slap on the wrist.
So
all
what
things
happens there?
considered.
Like, okay, so they forfeit their second-round draft picks. Does that mean that they get, like, the last... Like, or they just get skipped over, so they get their last two picks at the end of the draft?
I think
after
they
all the
just
other
skip
teams?
over them. I think they're just taken out and.
Yeah, but you have to fill your roster.
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, can you choose not to take picks in the draft if you are a team that is a nearly perfect team, right? Like, I mean, how many rounds does the draft go until the players run out, right?
No. In the NBA, it's like five rounds or something like that, or 6.
Okay, so they just don't get the option on two.
Yeah, they
on a
just
player
don't.
each?
Well, their rosters are so full. Like even like they've got more to fill. Like plenty of players to fill out an 11-man roster. You've even got guys under practice squad. So it's the drafts don't like. It's not like they're not going to be able to fill out. There's so many European players and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they just don't get picks. So, well, every team might get 5 picks. That they get 4 each. And
They get 4.
Which, for the Heat, doesn't really matter because they filled their roster with undrafted guys.
Yeah, we need more guards. And it doesn't matter that much for the Bulls either, realistically speaking, right?
No.
It's
Like every
doesn't
season is a rebuild season for the Bulls.
for the Bulls, yeah. Man, what else? Speaking of basketball, Scottie Pippen back in. Are they really headlines or like?
Oh no, he's
midsection
been on
lines?
a tear. What I don't even know what he said this time, but he's just been going crazy. What
Yeah,
so
my
what is it
food
now?
lately has been a little bland, so I just asked for the Scottie Pippen
Oh,
because his ass is so salty.
Yeah, what did he say this time?
he's got his book out, right?
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. He was on Dan Patrick and he was calling Phil Jackson a racist, and I know he said some other, spicy stuff since then. So
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was talking. I think he was on some radio show talking about Tom Brady this time too.
Oh, Scotty.
Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, he said some nonsense like, "How can I say he's the greatest football player of all time?" Because
He only plays half the game.
yeah,
Like he's the greatest because he only plays half the game, right? He's only offensive. He has no defensive. I mean, that's not entirely accurate, but
No, and I get, yeah. There's a conversation to be had about. I don't even want to give it credit, but I always have that argument. Well, and even when you talk about Tom Brady being the greatest of all time, he does have 21 other players on his team, and then coaching, and
Yeah.
special teams, and long snappers, and all that stuff. So there's so much that goes into winning and everything like that. So I don't know. Scotty just needs to move on.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he was. Was it a couple weeks ago, or when he was, or maybe longer than that, talking smack about Kevin Durant and the Warriors too?
I think so. And even that stuff, I'm so over it. Yeah, the Bulls are the greatest team of all time. Move on. All right.
Well,
I get.
but you know what though? You know what I don't fault Pop. This is like I feel like this is his Screech moment, right? He's making some money by making these appearances, and he's getting paid.
Yeah, good
So-
for. And if that's the case, good for him.
Yeah.
More power
well,
to him.
conversely, every time he trashes something in the past, be it Jordan or, the
Or
coach
Jordan.
or Phil Jackson,
Yeah.
it tarnishes the legacy overall.
I don't know
like-
about that. I think maybe it takes away some of his credibility if he's just going to say crazy stuff after crazy stuff, then people are just going to say he's crazy. Like he's not really bringing anything where you need evidence to back stuff up. If he's just saying all this crazy, I was better than Michael Jordan, whatever crazy stuff he's going on about, like people just turn it off and they don't listen to you.
Yeah, I mean, but he does have a point. Like Michael Jordan, for the ESPN piece that came out a little while ago, Michael Jordan got $10 million for his appearance in that. I don't think anybody else got paid at all. They just get the privilege of being in a documentary with Michael Jordan.
It was a puff piece, but it was great. I loved it. I watched it 3 times from beginning to end. It's fantastic. As someone who lived it and was like, and that's when I loved basketball. I was a kid, thought basketball was the greatest sport ever, and Michael Jordan was at his peak. To relive that and just remember those stuff, remember the flu game, all this stuff. It
And
was
the
great.
Olympics
I loved
and,
it.
And then the return and the three-peat. Yeah.
So whatever it took to get Michael Jordan on it, good for him. I love it.
Yeah, and whatever it took to get Scottie Pippen paid. Or whatever it takes to get Scottie Pippen paid.
Yeah, poor guy.
Notoriously underpaid, right?
And that's why he's really and we can move on from but that's why all this stuff is coming out, because I think this woke up a lot of demons about him being underpaid for the vast majority of his career and being second fiddle to Jordan. I think it finally is all coming out.
And unlike, the same thing has kind of happened to Dwayne Wade with Miami towards the end of his career, but he got paid at the end. He had to jump ship to do it, but
Well, so did Kobe. Kobe kind of held the Lakers, God rest his soul, held the Lakers up, and they paid Kobe and kind of hurt themselves in the long run for it. But I think doing that helped bring LeBron to the Lakers in a sweet twist of irony, where it's like, hey, you come here, we're going to take care of you. Like, this is a family, we want to take care of our talent. And so,
yeah. All right, so let's take a minute to I guess pour one out for Scottie Pippen's credibility. I don't know. What else we got?
we got, while we're on sports, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the mighty Iowa Hawkeyes making it to the Big Ten championship game. And then on top of that, that was just kind of the beginning of probably the craziest 3 days of college football I can remember, with Lincoln Riley heading to USC, Brian Kelly leaving for LSU, and all the dominoes that are falling behind that. It's just been wild.
Yeah, you guys beat Northwestern and then beat Michigan or Illinois.
You
guys play Michigan coming up.
We play Michigan. We beat Nebraska and then needed Minnesota to beat Wisconsin.
Right.
Both teams were underdogs, despite Nebraska only winning 3 games this year. Iowa's 1-point underdog, so needed to beat them, and then Minnesota had to beat Wisconsin for us to get into the conference championship. Then having Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time in like 8 or 9 years.
I know.
So just a lot of fun, just wild couple of days.
Yeah. And one last thing on sports before I guess we move on to the topic of the day. Jake Paul.
Yeah.
troublemaking, noisy internet sensation, apparently is a relatively talented boxer as long as he's fighting has-beens.
Yeah.
Has-beens who also weren't boxers. As long as he's fighting has-been athletes from other sports.
Yeah.
Still MMA, but, whatever. Split decision win against Tyron Woodley this weekend, and then talking smack about the fact that it was a split decision.
That's what he does. Now, so when do we move from YouTube star / boxer to boxer / YouTube star? Is
Will he
that...
be a boxer? Is he even making videos anymore? I think he's a boxer who used to do YouTube now.
There we go. I like it.
He's a celebrity in his celebrity now, a la Paris Hilton or whoever else.
Good for him. As long as you're getting paid, it's not coming from me. More power to you.
And his brother apparently too is talking smack, but whatever, get paid and actually I think Tyson Fury wanted a rematch, and he's like, I'm not sure I'm gonna do a rematch. My teeth are crooked, my nose is crooked. I'm gonna have to take some time to figure myself out. Maybe Tyron Woodley hit him pretty hard.
Yeah.
There was one shot he hit him pretty hard, and I think that maybe he's reevaluating whether or not he wants to get hit in the face for a living. He made more money in YouTube, I think, right?
Well, I don't know. He did it right. Like, if you're going to have a career as a boxer, get famous first and then get big money in your first couple of fights and then get in and get out. Because it's not, I wouldn't recommend anybody being a professional boxer just because it's
punched in the face for a living. Like,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
It's just not a good retirement plan. So he did it right. Good for him. I love it. It's get in, get out while you're still healthy, so you can spend your money and enjoy it.
All right. So, topic at hand. Let's take a minute and talk about our favorite
Commercials.
We don't have any sponsors yet. If you want to sponsor us,
commercial
let's fill our
time.
commercial
Commercial
spot.
time.
Get in there. I was going to talk about our favorite alien from the planet Orc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good lead-in, right?
Yes.
Robin Williams. So every once in a while on the show, on the podcast, we will do a segment we call High Watermark, where we look at the life and times of a celebrity and or other famous figure, and try to decide what the peak of their career, we'll call it their career, was, is, or has been. Not necessarily the highest grossing piece, but like what the most personally, in our view, from their view, what the most personally fulfilling moment or moments were in their career. And those are their high water marks, which we would be remiss if we didn't also talk about some of their low water marks. We will try to keep it career oriented, although of course for entertainers, their personal lives are on display as well. So first a little bit about Robin Williams. Grew up in San Francisco, right? Prolific stand-up comedian all through the 70s and into the 80s. I guess his first big TV thing was Mork and Mindy, right?
Well, technically, it was Mork and Mindy was a spinoff of Happy Days.
Really? Like a proper spin-off of Happy Days?
Yeah.
Yeah, like his character showed up on Happy Days.
Is this after Happy Days literally jumped the shark?
Could have jumped the Mork for all I care, but
Yeah. All right, so Mork and Mindy spin-off of Happy Days. I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't ever think about that. I'm young. So Mork and Mindy, his career launch, right? Around the same time he did Popeye.
Yes. Yep.
Which is his first feature.
I believe so, unless if he was uncredited or a student, whatever.
Yeah. So opposite Shelley Duvall in Popeye, which I don't know. My kids don't know who Popeye is. They might know who, whatever. But even when we were kids, Popeye was a big deal, right? Growing up as 80s kids into the 90s. And then he had a bunch of movies after that. The World According to Garp, Good Morning Vietnam, Dead Poet Society. And then now we've getting to like Robin Williams in the 90s, right? Where he is like the maker of our childhood, Patch Adams, Fisher King. And then he disappears kind of for a little while. I mean, Aladdin, right? Genie and Aladdin. Don't forget about Aladdin. And then Jumanji, Good Will Hunting, Birdcage, Night at the Museum. Man, just whatever. Just genius. And then accolades and awards. 2 Emmys 6 Golden Globes, 2 SAG Awards, and 5 Grammys, interestingly.
Yeah, he had some like kind of fun albums early on, right?
Yeah, but I don't even know. We'll have to look into that. And then, of course, more recently in the last few years, tragedy, right? We lost Robin Williams to suicide not too long ago. So rest in peace, Robin Williams. Okay, so prolific career. We've been through the broad strokes. Hopefully our listeners know who Robin Williams is. If not, then go find out, because every movie we've named is kind of a masterpiece in its own right. And then we'll go through like his filmography proper, and we'll kind of figure out where his high watermark is. But like broad strokes, before we get into it, what do you guys think? What are you thinking?
For what our high watermark is, or just
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the greatest. He followed up the greatest voiceover performance in the history of voiceover animation with an FU to the Walt Disney World Company, and I think that was his high watermark. Is
Fern Gully?
close. You're one movie off. You just missed it. Fern Gully tied in very, was an important reason to why he told Disney to go F themselves. And so, which is a power move for any actor, any comedian, anyone that's, has a career in animation to do that to the big wigs, the biggest guy in town. I think that's it with him. So a little backstory is that he was supposed to have a limited role, did a bunch of extra improvisations as the genie, and he said he wanted limited because I think the passion project was Fern Gully, and so that was his movie that he was behind. Similar characters, said I only want to be in a third of the poster. They literally put him in like the top half of the top third of the poster. It's just the genie looming over a bunch of things. Michael Eisner would go on to apologize to him and give him a Picasso or something like that, and they kind of mended that relationship, and he did the genie part in some educational computer-based projects and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but just kind of stuck it
I
to
had some
Disney.
of those games. Well, yeah, and
not-
he didn't want. So Robin Williams was famously anti big corporate profits. So he didn't want like Disney making $1 billion off of his voice and likeness. He didn't want the toy sales, and he wasn't into that. And he accepted the role conditionally, like you said, because he wanted to do something also like on the personal side, something. Up to that point, his career hadn't been necessarily kid-centric stuff. He wanted to do something specifically that his children could appreciate.
Yep. His son's about 8 or 9 years old at this point, I believe.
And Zelda was little, his daughter. Yeah.
Yep.
And he didn't want any like corporate profiteering. No, he said no fast food toy sales, no, none of that stuff. And the script was loose, and they let him pretty much write his own dialogue, like all improv. So, yeah. But yeah, I think he did like 30 hours of tape for a 90-minute Disney movie. Like the whole movie's.
I watched that movie.
Yeah. And they got to pick and choose and cut up what they wanted. Yeah. So, and he got a special Golden Globe for his voice work.
And it's well deserved. I think it is the greatest voiceover performance of all time.
Yeah. Of course, yeah, like you said, Disney broke the deal, right? The genie's the biggest thing on the poster.
And I'll just to further my point, I think by this point in his career, he had also had critical acclaim as a comedian, of course, but also as a serious actor. I mean, he's in Dead Poet Society and some other movies going into that. Worked with Spielberg and Hook and all that stuff. So I think as his career, he was satisfied where he was at. Now he gets more accolades further on the line, but I think that's where, being able to tell Michael Eisner and Disney to F off.
I think Les Eisner too. I think Katzenberg was the one that pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah.
Before leaving to do DreamWorks.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. No, I think you're correct in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. With that being said, it just occurs to me, there's this trope in Hollywood where if you're a comedian, you're not taken seriously as an actor, but actors can take on comedic roles and win awards and accolades for them?
I think to a point.
Well, not to go off on a tangent, but the leading example right now would be like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Okay.
Just a stellar performance, but not even considered for an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, well, let's address first though. Like, as a comedian, you're not supposed to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy to get typecast as a
You know
comedian.
what I mean?
I think being
Like,
able to do comedic acting is the hardest form of acting. I
Right.
think it's very, very difficult. And then when you get like they brought it up before. Not again. Let's just keep going on the tangents. It reminds me of when Kramer went on Letterman
Michael
to
Richards? Yeah.
went on Letterman to apologize for his racist rant, and the crowd, like, he's as far as I can tell, super sincere, apologizing, and the crowd just keeps giggling. And they just, and at one point, Jerry's like, "Stop it! This isn't funny."
Yeah.
It's just like everybody has that in him. Like, he bursts in the door, and he is funny, and you can't take him seriously, even when talking about this serious topic. Like, it's difficult to get over that hump and just be seen in that dramatic light.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I guess the Academy Awards, the
Well,
Oscars.
I mentioned it because in my recollection, Robin Williams he started off as a comedian,
Yes.
got his way into TV, became an undescribable actor, and wins Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting.
Yes. I mean, he has. I mean, and yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if the Oscars is the end all be all for cinematic greatness.
I agree with
I mean,
that,
there's
yeah.
lots of actors who have been historically snubbed only to be kind of gifted an Oscar. We're gonna use that term lightly later. Denzel is one. DiCaprio, of course, is another.
But it is
so-
a measuring stick. Like, it is
Yeah.
something we do to. But yeah, I agree. He's a great actor. Insomnia, he is very, very good, and his also in Patch
his
Adams
acting
is
range.
good,
Let's
and
say
then
Patch Adams,
and
Jack
Jack
from
is
Photo.
great. Jack is.
Yeah.
You want to talk about playing a difficult role? That's very, very hard to
Having
do.
to be a kid that looks like a grown up that needs to be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Although Peter Pan did give him practice.
Yes, that's
So-
right. That's right. But he was great. He's an amazing actor,
And I was gonna say, not for nothing, but it's hard. It's hard for comedians, I think, to get role choices that would have them be Oscar considered, if
Yes.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin Williams, as brilliant as I mean, maybe he should have got a nod for Dead Poet Society.
yes,
I don't know
Yes.
what was running around outside of Dead Poet Society. Obviously, we recognize his brilliance in Good Will Hunting, and so did the Academy. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Was he on that?
Maybe not.
No, I don't think he was in that.
No, but Good Morning Vietnam.
I think he
Maybe.
did get a nomination for that. I think.
Yeah, and I mean he got the Grammy nod for singing in Aladdin.
And
You have a thought?
I forgot
Is it
about
Flubber?
one of the greatest cameos of all time is the moon in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
So let me stop you for a second.
Yeah.
A gaggle of turkeys literally just walked by my door.
Nice. 'Tis the season. They're just flaunting it after surviving last week.
So weird, Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Baron Munchausen.
his
Yeah.
cameo.
One of the greatest cameos of all time
Yeah.
is the moon, and just
But is it really a cameo though? Like, he does get like about 15 minutes of screen time.
yeah. I
So
think
yeah, I think it's still. a
I think
cameo.
I'd call it a cameo.
No, I
And that-
think it's a supporting role.
whatever.
We're
We're
splitting hairs now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does steal the show in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you, it's giving Disney the old FU.
Yeah, I tip my cap to anyone that can do that lives in the media world. So What about you
All right.
guys? What are you guys thinking? First impressions.
At Armin Hilarious, go.
High water mark. I'm Yeah, I'm gonna go for the low hanging fruit premiere of Aladdin,
Okay. The movie he didn't want to do.
but it's his single greatest role. It's a 90 minutes of the most Robin Williams you could ever possibly want for. Like,
Okay. All right. Oh, I don't know. There's. Man. Oh,
Well, you could do winning an Academy Award could be one.
Yeah.
I think he gets a lifetime from Juilliard. I think they gave him like a lifetime achievement award, like stuff like that. I think he would greatly appreciate because that's, being recognized by your peers where you went to school.
Yeah, I might have to go back. I mean, so we're circling around Aladdin. Now it's going to be kind of splitting hairs on what it is, depending on. So for you, it's like the FU to Disney and refusing to do the sequel, right?
Yeah.
Although he did come back for Aladdin 3. So he skipped, I guess.
But came back after Michael Eisner,
Had got
literally,
Katzenberg
I
out
think
of
like begged him. Yeah, hands and
Yeah,
knees.
Katzenberg was out.
Yeah.
And Joe Roth came in, and that's when they Eisner and Joe Roth did the formal public apology and all of that. So getting Disney to bow to you, I guess, is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I was gonna so for circling around Aladdin, I would almost say that for me it would be like the minute he raps on his last minute of his 30 hours of tape, because at that point he's not disenchanted yet. He's still doing something that his kids could be proud of. His daughter's a baby. She might be like 2 or 3, and I think she was like his whole world, right? And he's like, okay, I've created something. I've still kind of gotten Disney to agree to my terms at this point. So he's cowed them a little bit, at least in his mind. And and he's able to say, I've produced something that my children can enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah. I like it. Now I will. So now that I'll have a retort to that. Is that you don't know if that's magic. You don't know where it's going because I don't even unless they did some like the animation process hadn't even begun. I guess they have sketches and everything like that, but you've got to wait another year until that movie comes out. And he had done Fern Gully as well, right? So and probably something that at the time he'd be a little bit more proud of because it's nature, it's something that he's involved in. I don't know how involved he was with the creative process, but he definitely had his fingers on it because that's why he came up with those rules about the genie with Disney, right?
Yeah. Another interesting thought might be like '03 when he filmed Alaska. And then I guess '06 he checked into rehab for drinking and cocaine and all that. But in 2010, he had successfully said that he didn't go back to cocaine. No cocaine. Haha.
Nice.
I mean, beating cocaine's kind of a big one,
Absolutely.
especially for comedians.
He's one of those guys that does he need it? Like in Chris Farley, like they say Chris Farley wasn't nearly as high on cocaine as people thought he was because he was just that ball of energy.
That manic. Yeah.
Yes, he was just high energy all the time. So yeah.
Did you
Good for
guys
him.
see a few months ago, maybe a month ago, that actor comedian Jamie Costa did his Robin Williams impersonation?
mm-hmm.
And it actually talks about that scene. Like, this kid looks enough like Robin Williams that I cast him in a fan film. And I think he wrote the script himself and did it all. But I think the moment that he played, this is probably a low water mark. Was it Chris's death or Belushi? It was Belushi's
It was
death.
Belushi. Yeah.
Yeah, where he talks about John Belushi's death. And and this is kind of counterproductive because we're looking for high water marks, but that was, where Robin promises to get himself clean. So beating cocaine seems like a good one, not just personally, but career-wise as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think overall is pertinent to Robin Williams because he just hit so many high notes, and everyone else who we do watermarks on, whether it's Tom Cruise or Madonna,
Yeah.
their careers just like, I mean, Cruise being just keeping it up there, but it makes the highs that much better when we talk about his lows.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to address, like if we're talking about high watermarks when it comes to Robin Williams, one of his other low watermarks is that he's one of the most famous comedians to acknowledge that he did joke stealing.
Right.
Yeah, but he did as he would pay the guys, right? Was that kind
Yeah.
of? I think he was
Like-
known for. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd see somebody's set and then like cut him a check for $10,000 because
I want that joke.
Yeah, and I think he got caught retroactively because if you've seen him live, like he's just kind of free flowing and just goes from one topic to the other. And then when you watch so much comedy, I mean, he was there at the comedy store all the time and everything. You're just gonna pick up on stuff, right? And just kind of finish it. And then he would retroactively be like, "Oh, damn, I stole your bit or kind of ripped off your bit," and then would just cut the guy a check
Cut him
because
a
it
check.
didn't
Cut
seem.
him a check.
This is not the same that Carlos Mencia did, right? Like where he
Yeah.
would sit in back and literally steal people's stuff,
Take notes,
pawn it off
yeah.
as his own because he had his own TV show. I think Robin would accidentally do it because of the way his mind worked and everything, and then would kind of figure it out after
and Robin
the fact.
Williams has had, impeccable, I'm gonna call it comedy IQ, where he could
Yes.
tell like this is gonna kill if I put it in right here. It's
Yes.
not mine, but it's the best fit for this thing. So his brain automatically just goes there, puts it in, slays, and then again retroactively cut a check for another comedian, but then he recognizes that other comedian and gives them the opportunity to be like, hey, I wrote a joke for Robin Williams, right? Who can say that?
Oh heck yeah, yep.
So yeah, but I'm gonna change my answer a little bit. All
right.
Just in thinking about this comedy piece, I think, like you said, being taken seriously is kind of a big deal. So I am gonna say, not the Academy Award for Good Will Hunting, but like the last day of production, Good Will Hunting, becoming a bit of a mentor as an actor and a producer for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Literally helping launch two actors who became superstars in their own right. I'm gonna say wrap of production, wrap party, Good Will Hunting, being taken seriously as an actor, as a dramatic actor, because I would argue that he's been taken seriously as a comedic actor for 2 decades at that point, right?
Well,
We
you
know he's
can't
got
put
chops.
movies out like Dead Poet Society or The Fisher King if you aren't considered a legit actor, not just a comic
Right.
in a serious movie.
But at this point, I think, in my humble opinion, it's not just that he has the chops to do it in roles that are tailored for him, because there's still a little bit of that Mrs. Doubtfire, not the comedic part, but the serious father figure role in Mrs. Doubtfire that comes through in the other films as well, right? Like, he is this kind of nurturing dad-like figure. And that's Dead Poet Society to a T. He's a teacher. And there's still a lot of the comedy in the seriousness of the role. Like, the film is a serious film, but he is a lighter, more inspirational part of. Does that make sense? Am I just
Absolutely.
sounding like a
Yeah.
blathering
I
idiot?
feel
Okay.
where you're coming from.
For sure.
Whereas Good Will Hunting, the drama is, I mean, he's still a mentor figure, obviously, in the film, but there's not a lot of, and it's not as dark as like 1 Hour Photo or those films, but he's not doing, there's nothing that he does in Good Will Hunting for laughs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then again, like, not just, oh, good job, Robin, pat on the back. No, he's an integral part of the team of producing this film as well. Giving 2 young writers who've been making fart jokes up to that point with Kevin
Yeah.
Smith, right?
Well, and this is we can say what we want about him, but he's also working with Harvey Weinstein at Miramax, and you got to feel that an Academy Award is going to come not far after. I mean, that's what Miramax was at that time, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy's despicable, did terrible things. Doesn't need to be said. We all know this. But he has to have an idea, like once a rep, this is good. This is a good movie.
Yeah.
These guys are good. I did a good job. This is a very
Well,
good film.
none of those guys have boobs, so they have less to worry about from Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
I think.
Hollywood is
Yeah.
is a weird place.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
So yeah. Actually, we've got. I don't think we need to hash this out too much more. I don't think we need a definitive. I think we're gonna let Robin's memory rest and
Yeah.
not try to parse him down to a high moment.
I'd love to hear what other people have to say too. He has such a great and extensive career, and we didn't do a lot of the stand-up comedy stuff too. Like that
Yeah.
may be what's the most important. That's where his career started, and maybe those are the things that he can. I'd love to hear what other people have to say.
So yeah, leave us a comment. We're on YouTube now, so in addition to checking us out on Facebook and Instagram, look us up, the Digital TP Podcast, or it's just Digital TP Podcast on YouTube, and you'll see this stream. If you listen to it and want to see what we look like, check us out on YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends. We will be streaming to YouTube more often now, and if we ever find the time, we'll retroactively put the rest of our catalog up on YouTube if we find the time. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. For the Digital Toilet Paper Podcast, my name is Jason Bear.
Rex Rebo.
At Arnon Hilarious.
We'll catch you guys next time.